Welcome to our first live stream here at Phillip Island in Victoria. Yes, 1.5 hours from Melbourne. Phillip Island is one of the most popular tourist destination in Australia, and you'll find out why. So welcome to our wonderful guests from Europe, our biggest market. We've been live streaming all over the world today, and now it's a beautiful sunset evening, getting ready for the Penguin Parade here at Phillip Island. And thank you for joining us for Sydney Melbourne Touring Route. And introducing you right now is the main man of Sydney Melbourne, is Paul Cooper.
Thank you very much, George. And of course, in the market of Europe, a man who's really famous himself is the George Yoshevsky.
Yoshevsky. And also, guys, as you know, it's live stream. We suggest that you also log into the chat and ask us questions because it's live. So let us know. Now, Paul, tell us more about Sydney Melbourne Touring.
You can call it Sydney Melbourne Touring, or you can call it Melbourne Sydney Touring. We don't mind. But basically, most of our key partners in Europe know very well it's all about the Sydney Melbourne Coastal Drive, as you can see here, and 15 minutes to present all information about all of that total area. But today we've picked one of our hot spots, one of our jewels in our crown. That's here at beautiful Phillip Island, as George said in the introduction. And in terms of what you can do on the island, there's so many great things. I'll run through a couple of our SMT partners now, George, starting off with Phillip Island Helicopters. Now, from the air is an absolute awesome way to see the island. They've got a lot of different helicopters that you can travel in. And you can see the beautiful south coast, our gorgeous beaches, fly out over the Penguin Parade area.
Looks awesome.
And Churchill Island, just the colour of the water. You can see the bridge in that shot connecting the mainland. That's San Remo there in the background, and Cape Willamai right in front of you. That's where I live, George, in that estate there. And this particular shot here just shows a classic shot there flying over the Phillip Island San Remo Bridge, and you can see the jetty there in the background where the fishing fleet comes in all the time. So that's one of the things I like to do. Another one is the National Vietnam Veterans Museum.
Oh yes, I've heard about this.
It's a great attraction, George. It started as like a bit of a roadshow where it was just one guy, John Metzford, who was driving around Australia, just showing various things from the Vietnam veterans of the Vietnam War. And during his travels around Australia, and more people said, "Oh, it's great that you're doing this. We should have some sort of a collection." And it's grown and grown and grown. And now, as you can see on screen, just behind the Phillip Island Helicopters is the National Vietnam Veterans Museum. Now, this is an awesome attraction, and as you can see, they've collected so much memorabilia in there now. So if you've got people travelling down to Phillip Island, they want to have a look at some parts of the history that we've been involved in, this is another great attraction to see, the National Vietnam Veterans Museum. And they've got some funding, George.
Have they?
Yeah, they are planning a pretty big upgrade. So, watch this space.
It just ceases to amaze me how much stuff you can do in such a small island. And it's close to Melbourne, remember that. Paul, tell us about the accommodations here.
Look, there's a lot of accommodation, and a little bit later on we'll be talking to Pauline from Destination Phillip Island.
Yes.
And Pauline will talk a little bit more about it. But just in terms of our Sydney Melbourne touring partners, George, there's some great ones to look at. This particular one here on screen is Phillip Island Apartments. They've got 1, 2, 3 bedroom apartments, like studio accommodation right through to the various sizes. Fully self-contained, luxury accommodation, beautiful pool there as well, as you could see. So that's a lovely apartment style accommodation. Another one of the great properties, which is located right in the middle of the island, just a little bit out of Cowes, is the Ramada Resort. Now, this is their website, or their images for their website. You can click on the links on the left there. So we've gone into the 3-bedroom cottage, and as you can see, it's all got that Google walkthrough technology, so you can really try before you buy and see the layout of each of the cabins and cottages that they actually have at the resort. And of course, on the left-hand side there where it says 3-bedroom cottage, you can see all of those other areas you can look at, whether it's the kids area, whether it's the health centre, or whatever. So you get a really good look at what you can see at the resort. Now, it's the Ramada, which is a part of the Wyndham Group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of our great partners on Phillip Island. We don't only have the accommodation in terms of fully self-contained apartment-style accommodation. We've also got some very luxurious bed and breakfasts, and this one would have to be one of my absolute favourites of accommodation. It's called Oak Tree. And they've got 4 different styles of rooms, and each particular one is individually appointed, individually furnished by the owners, Sue and Anthony, and it's got that real homely touch to it. Again, fully self-contained, and a lovely, lovely place to stay at a little seaside hamlet village that we call Rill here on Phillip Island. And there's one more option
Oh,
too, George.
here we go.
Here we go, and here we are. We're looking at the camper vans.
Oh, wow, I
Now,
love this.
we have an awesome partnership with our friends at THL, so the Brits and Maori camper vans, and we thank all of our friends throughout Europe for booking so many of these, because we see them coming over the Phillip Island Bridge all the time. In fact, THL have said their Sydney to Melbourne and Melbourne to Sydney bookings are just going up and up all the time, so it's great to see so many people doing it with the camper vans. But here at the Cows Caravan Park, that's where you put your camper van, George. You're pretty well right on the beach, overlooking French Island across the bay. So it's a great experience. And when it comes to accommodation, you name it, we've got it.
Yeah, I love it. And I love it how you're just right there by the water. It's so easy, and it's such a beautiful, spacious, safe island. I stayed at the Ramada last night, and it was awesome. Waking up this morning with the birds chirping, it's pretty good, guys, and nice and clean as the video showed. So absolutely. And now, so tell us what else the island has to offer.
Over the next few minutes during our live stream, we're going to meet some other very special guests and get some more information. So I'm not going to steal their thunder, but the walking tracks and trails I really love. The beaches I really love. You've got surf beaches on one side of the island. Then you've got these beautiful bay beaches on the other side, and channel beaches at various locations as well. So it's things like the water activities, the fishing is great, and the walking just to discover wildlife. There's so many great walking tracks. Like you can walk out to Cape Willamai, the area that I live in, and the end of the Cape itself is Phillip Island's highest point. It's not high by European standards, but it's the highest for Phillip Island. It's just a great walk to do. And I've been here for about 20 years, and I've probably lost count how many times I've seen an echidna. They're not the easiest animal to find, but just wandering around some of these tracks and trails around the Phillip Island, it really is a wildlife mecca.
It is a wildlife mecca, and you mentioned Willamai Beach. I reckon it's one of the best beaches in the world. Every time I take my friends from Europe to that beach, they just jaw drop. So it's a really great place. Great. Speaking of wildlife, we've got to first thank Paul Cooper for joining us. So thank you, Paul. Yay! And thank you very much.
George.
And speaking of wildlife, it's all live, so it's going to be a lot of movement. Speaking of wildlife, Mr. Wildlife Warrior himself from the nature parks of Phillip Island. Here is Stephen Peppard. How are you?
George, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, buddy. I'm really, really well.
How's it all good? It's. I mean, the penguins are just about to come out.
Yeah, the penguins are
aren't
about
they?
to come out.
Yeah,
we're
so-
obviously not at the Penguin Beach.
No,
but,
we've got to hurry up, shouldn't
it's
we?
sort
Because
of
you've got to
getting
go
dark
back
enough,
there.
and I know it looks a little bit dark on the screen, but it's actually a beautiful evening here tonight. And the penguins are probably 10, 15 minutes from coming in. So
That's right, and I hear you've been really, really, really busy with the Penguin Parade because it's such an exciting time for the Penguin Parade because you're opening a brand new visitor centre.
we are, mate. So in July, so we're only a few months away from a brand new $58 million visitor centre. And it's an amazing building. Watching it take shape over the last year and a half, it's been incredible. It's, as I mentioned, $58 million. The state government gave us $48 million, and we managed to put some money away, and we've got the project up and running. Around 5,000 square metres or 54,000 feet. So it's actually about double the size of our existing centre. But the good news is, and especially for our European friends that want more intimate experiences, we're not actually increasing the capacity of the Penguin Parade, but the centre will mean that it's a lot more enjoyable for our visitors, and around 2,000 metres or 20,000 square feet of interpretation and education areas. And I know a lot of our European and Scandinavian friends loved our guided ranger tours, so they come down, and currently they meet in the middle of the centre, where now they'll actually be able to meet in a dedicated education wing. So it'll be a lot more personal, a lot more intimate. You're not going to be surrounded by hundreds of people. We're going to have a beautiful 300-seat a la carte restaurant, 100-seat cafe, 100-seat theatre. But more importantly, as a conservation organisation, we're going to have increased habitat. So where the old centre was and the coach car park will actually now become Penguin Colony. And we believe in the next couple of years we'll have an additional 1,400, 1,500 penguins calling the island home, George. So exciting times.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful experience for the visitor, definitely on the island. We've just got some messages. Some people are having troubles getting through, so don't worry. We're going to put this up very shortly, but keep at it with us. But tell us about the viewing options at the Penguins.
Yeah, well, as you know, George, you've been an operator for many, many years. You know, there's many different options. General viewing is our sort of starting point, and it's not really designed for that international or European, Scandinavian market. So our starting point for them is our Penguins Plus viewing area, much more intimate, maximum capacity of 300 packs. Great viewing because the penguins are right up in front of your face. We also have our underground viewing, 70 packs maximum. You're eye level with the penguins, looking at them through the water, through the glass. It's incredible, nice and warm and dry. So especially for our chilly winter months. But then our ranger tours, our guided ranger tour, our VIP tour, and our ultimate tour, which the Scandinavians love, the ultimate one, where they go off to a completely isolated beach with night vision goggles, and they're all a maximum of 10 packs of these tours. It's a really unique and intimate way to experience something that is a truly life-altering experience, George.
It is life-altering in its
amazing,
natural habitat without interrupting their normal lifestyle.
Yeah, we're
That's
in the zoo
fantastic.
and they're free to come and go. So it's a lovely way to
Also, I was going to call you. Well, he's Peps. He's Peps down here at the island. Also,
Peps or Penguin. Yep.
Penguin. I understand you also manage Churchill Island. Tell me about this place.
We do. And look, Churchill's, as I've said to you many times, George, it's one of my favourite spots. It's a beautiful island. It's actually connected to Phillip Island. It's a much smaller island. There's no penguins on there, but there are bandicoots at night time. But it was beautiful historic homesteads and lovely gardens. But we use it also as a working farm. So we have the sheep shearing displays and the working dogs. You can milk a cow and crack a whip. I can do that, George. I'm pretty good. Sometimes even run the shows. But it's a lovely place just to stroll around, and especially for our self-drive markets that are coming down. You can come down. There's a lovely cafe overlooking a beautiful bay called Western Port Bay. They can have lunch in a glorious setting and just really get out and enjoy some of the Australian coastal scenery. So it is a special little place, and it forms part of what we call our 3 or 4 or even 5 park passes, which are a great option for that self-drive market.
Absolutely, and don't forget, one of my favourite also is the Antarctic Journey.
Yes,
you've
got to see the Antarctic Journey, and that again is part of our 4 park pass. So it is a must. Yes.
That is fantastic. Well,
thanks, George, and thank you, everybody. And if you have any questions on the penguins, please get on and ask them. And great to be here.
Sorry for rushing him because he has to go. The Penguins are going to come out in 20 minutes. So give a round of applause
Thanks,
to
guys.
Steve
Take care.
Peppard.
See ya.
Get out of here, Steve-O. And speaking of nature and its wonder, so you've got the Phillip Island Nature Parks, but guess what else you can do on this island? I think is the most amazing experience is to travel with Wildlife Coast Cruises around to see the seals. And here we are, is Brianna Dickey. How are we?
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Tell me about Wildlife Cruises and your boats.
Wildlife Coast
And
Cruises.
the tours.
Yes. Wildlife Coast Cruises is a family locally owned company. In 25 years ago, we started this company. John Dickey did. We cruise coastlines, as you can see there.
Beautiful.
Beautiful
Looks
area.
lovely, doesn't
That's
it?
Cape Woolamai.
Yeah.
And there you can see a whale right in front of our boat,
Yes,
Brianna
you
Lee.
do whale tours.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We do. They go for usually about 4 hours. We do have a whale cruise that goes around Wilson's Promontory for 6 hours.
Oh, that's
Absolutely
awesome. And
incredible.
dolphins, I hear you can see that.
Dolphins,
Yep,
yes,
yep.
definitely dolphins as
Oh,
well.
look at this.
Yeah, these are the seals. So we see thousands of Australian fur seals. It is the largest breeding colony of Australian fur seals in Australia.
Wow. And I mean, I was going to ask you what people can expect from your daily cruises, and have a look at this. I mean, we're looking at this footage. It looks fantastic.
It
yeah,
is
tell us.
fantastic,
Yeah, and how many
yeah.
seals are there out there?
Oh, on a daily basis, you will see about 8,000 seals.
8,000,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness.
definitely. That's on a day-to-day basis. So every day we see these guys, and
Yep.
it's
Oh,
incredible.
here we go. Look at that.
Yeah, you can see they
Stunning.
look like rocks, but when you get a little bit closer, you'll see how many there actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks fascinating, and this is such a great option to do. If people are here on the island for a day, they can actually do the whole cruise and then also enjoy the penguins.
Yeah,
and-
definitely. It
yeah.
is a 2-hour cruise, leaving daily from 2 o'clock from Cows, which Cows is behind me, as
Yep.
you saw before. But you'll see how close we get to the seals. It definitely looks like seal soup right there.
Looks fantastic. Look at
Yeah.
that. That's fantastic. And also you have like the whale and dolphin seal, which leaves from another port. Yep.
That one leaves from the township of Rill.
Okay.
So Rill is about a 7-minute drive from Cows.
Not far.
Not far at
No,
all.
no.
No.
Yeah.
And that whale cruise will circumnavigate the whole of Phillip Island.
Yes.
So
And I heard, sorry, I'll to interrupt you, but I'm just excited for you guys because I've done your cruise, I've enjoyed it, but I'm fascinated to know about the Wilson's Prom cruise that you do.
Oh, the Wilson's Prom cruise is definitely one of my favourite cruises. I have been doing it since I was 3 years old. The Wilson's Prom cruise will leave from Port Welshpool.
Yep.
Right there you can see Skull Rock, which is just
that.
absolutely incredible. We get right under there quite often. So
It's almost a natural wonder. Look at it.
it is a natural wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And how many boats do you have and your staff? Tell us about your staff.
Yeah, so we've got 3 vessels. They are 20-metre catamarans. Our staff are just so passionate about their jobs. You can see there we've got 3 deck levels you can view. So, yeah, you get nice and
Look
nice
at it.
and
I
close
just
to the
love
seals
that.
and
Love
from
it.
every angle of the boat.
And they're all modern boats, all
They
got
are.
facilities,
Yes.
facilities for all type, for people and, and for young and old. You
Definitely,
bet. Yep.
definitely. Anybody can go on these boats. They are nice and comfortable.
Yep.
And yeah.
That's great.
Definitely.
Well, Brianna, it's been lovely talking. Brianna, she's so proud. She's a family member and she loves her company.
I
She
am.
loves her parents who run it. So give a round of applause to Brianna from
Thanks,
Wildlife
George.
Cruiser.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you. Well done. Okay. All right. As Vanessa Williams said, we're going to leave the best for last, aren't we? No, we're not. We're going to wait for Paul later on. But hey, let's introduce to you Pauline Bolton from Destination Phillip Island, who's going to tell us lots about the whole region of Phillip Island, what you can do. So tell me about the accommodation. Well, first of all, welcome.
Thanks, George.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. How beautiful is
It
out
is-
here
it is
tonight?
beautiful.
I
It's
know.
beautiful, and
We only put on the best for you.
absolutely as expected.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, we talked about accommodations with Paul about Phillip Island, but tell me about your popular accommodations.
Well, we have lots of accommodation available for all family groups, couples, for the extended family, so lots of options. We're here at North Pier, overlooking this beautiful Cowes foreshore, so just as one of our accommodators. We also have hotels, motels. Paul had mentioned Phillip Island apartments as well, 1, 2 and 3 bedroom style apartments. Also resorts, which is where you stayed at Ramada
I love
Resort,
it.
and
It's beautiful. Yes.
beautiful accommodation. But also, as Paul mentioned, you can hire an RV and go down and park down by the beach and enjoy that as well. So some of our luxury accommodation, Paul had mentioned Oak Tree Lodge, and that's one of our luxury B&Bs. This is, again, a beautiful property at Real. But we have a number of other properties
like
similar
here,
to this.
North Pier. It's
Like
beautiful,
here,
yes.
absolutely. We have another one called Cliff Top,
Oh.
and that's right on the cliffs at Smiths Beach overlooking Bass Strait. And that's, coming up.
Oh, that's impressive.
So,
yeah.
George, we also have something else to offer, which is a farm stay. These are our cabins. They're 1, 2 and 3 bedroom family self-contained cabins on a working family farm. So, again, you can have that farm experience with a beautiful view with some wine. Doesn't get better than that,
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
think.
Looks fantastic.
Have the farm experience, feeding chooks, collecting eggs. Just another great option. Glamping, a new thing on Phillip Island to enjoy.
Very popular in Europe.
Oh,
It is
really?
so
wow,
popular, yes.
absolutely. So it's a bit luxury, as we know, luxury camping out in the
Look at that.
yeah,
Beautiful.
exactly.
Out in the stars.
Yeah, just the best way to see Phillip Island.
It's just, there's so much accommodation here. Surely there's got to be lots of places to eat. Tell us about, where
Yeah.
you can eat here.
Wow, our food experience has grown over the last few years. A lot of our cafes and restaurants use local produce, so they source that. Obviously, being an island, we have local produce available, seafood available, being an island,
of course.
and also local produce in South Gippsland. But nothing better with having food is a beer. So
Where's this place?
This is Rusty Water Brewery.
Ah, yes, I heard of this.
They have the famous Koala Pale Ale, just in one of the beers that you can try on one of those paddles. A beautiful restaurant and brewery. Also, we have Phillip Island Winery. Again, local cool climate wines to enjoy.
good.
Lots of food options. Again, beautiful cows. They're sitting right on the Cowes foreshore enjoying your meal.
You can't go wrong. You can just basically stay here a couple of days. Self-drive is so important, so big in the European market, self-drive. And a lot of tour companies come here too, so you can come here on a day or overnights. Lots of things to do in Phillip Island, so definitely worth it. And what else is there to offer here on Phillip Island, apart from just penguins and accommodation and food?
Yeah, wow, chocolate. We have a chocolate
yes,
factory.
yes.
Everyone loves chocolate. So the Pannies, the world famous chocolate, has a chocolate
Look at that,
waterfall.
yeah.
400 kilograms of chocolate every 3 minutes. Wouldn't you just love to dip your head under that? I know, one of my dreams that I dream about doing that.
Seriously?
But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Wouldn't that be magical? But also you can
Okay.
drink chocolate, play with chocolate. This is also amazing things. Great family activity to do there. They have putt-putt golf. They have Magic Manor as well as Puzzle Island. So lots of fun activities for the kids and families to enjoy there. We also have the world famous Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit.
Oh, of course, the motorcycle Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Oh,
our
wow.
international race, which is here every October.
Yep.
So one of the most beautiful international tracks in the world.
It
With
is.
that, we have a smaller track. It's a 750-metre replica track that you can go go-karting on. You can race your friends, families, or just beat the clock and have great fun
Right
out
there at the track.
Right there
Oh,
at the track
perfect.
overlooking Bass Strait. So
That's
again, just
awesome.
a beautiful experience. And as Paul mentioned, we've got lots of walks, trails, 100 kilometres of coastline to explore. So
You can't go wrong.
absolutely.
You can't go wrong. And I'll tell you what, another one of my favourite places here is the Koala Conservation Centre.
Yes.
Definitely got to see that.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
must. So yeah, lots of things. So it's a must to do for a few days. Can't just pack it into one. You need to stay and enjoy.
Stop it. I'm going to stay another night here, even though I have to go later, but I'll might sneak another night here.
That would be
Hey,
great.
guys, let's have a big thank you to Pauline Bolton from Destination Phillip Island. Well done, Pauline.
Thanks,
High
George.
five. Thanks, guys. It is live, so we're moving across, and we will wrap it up now with Mr. Paul Cooper, the main man himself, Sydney Melbourne Touring. How'd you go?
Oh,
All good.
awesome,
What
awesome.
an amazing experience we can have here, and as you can see from this presentation and this live presentation that we're doing, it'll entice a lot more agents to put Phillip Island on the map, and especially as by having the world famous penguins here. So, Paul, Sydney Melbourne Touring has some great partnerships. So tell us all about that.
We certainly do have some great partnerships, George. I'll just shrink down here a little bit because I forgot to adjust the camera before I move over. It couldn't see my head up there. But we do have some great partnerships. Not only the products that we've been talking about today here at Phillip Island, but right along both the Heritage Drive and the Coastal Drive. But someone I'd like to single out, we have a fantastic partnership with Big Four Holiday Parks. Also, the Murray River Tourism Board there on the Heritage Drive, and we'll be talking about more about that in future live streams at dates yet to be fixed. The New South Wales Caravan and Camping Industry Association, they've got member parks all over New South Wales, but the south coast of New South Wales, which is a part of the Coastal Drive, is their biggest chapter. Some 70 members down there. So
huge.
if you've got the RVs or you're looking at that beachfront cabin-style accommodation, there's no shortage down the south coast and
looks
right
good.
throughout Victoria as well, of course. And I can't not mention THL, Brits and Maui, wonderful partners, have been for many, many years. And as I was saying earlier, they're talking about the growth in numbers doing the drive between Sydney and Melbourne as a part of their camper van road trips. So it's
Why
just
not?
been awesome.
Why not?
Yeah.
Open roads, open spaces, beautiful coastline, beautiful Heritage Drive. Absolutely. Now, what other live streams are coming up, Paul?
Well, we've got another couple booked in over the next couple of weeks. So while we've set all the equipment up and so forth, we thought we'll do 3 in a row. So on Wednesday next week, around about this same time in the evening, we'll be going live into Europe from Gippsland, a beautiful place in Gippsland called Jetty Road Retreat, which is like halfway between Meetung and Lakes Entrance, if you know the Coastal Drive at all. So we'll be talking about all things Gippsland next week. And then in 2 weeks from today, that'll be Wednesday next week, but 2 weeks from today, we'll be down at the absolutely stunning Wilson's Promontory National Park. So we'll be doing a live stream this time in 2 weeks from Wilson's Prom with the emus and the wombats and the magnificent wildlife there. In fact, I think there's a photo of myself and a wombat from when I was doing some filming down there before, and my colleague Anthony shows that photo to everyone and says, "Spot the wombat," which is very, very cheeky, isn't it,
It
George?
is
Really,
cheeky. That's really
but
good.
we've got some great streams coming up. Yeah,
Well, that's very exciting stuff, and hopefully I can host them.
absolutely,
Absolutely
You're the
host
host
it.
with the most,
Oh,
George.
look,
How
I'm
could we
really,
not have
really
George
excited
doing
and
that?
very honoured to come here, guys. And as you know, there's some live streamings coming in a couple of weeks. But this is our very first live stream. I hope it actually came across really well for you guys. And a big thank you to Anth and Paul for the whole production of doing this. And I hope you realise that we are very passionate about our state. We are very passionate about Sydney Melbourne touring, and especially here at Phillip Island. I'm really excited to be part of this. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Yes, it's been absolutely awesome. Thanks, George, and love you long time.